Right now, there are 10 SUVs sitting on dealer lots and Facebook Marketplace listings that have lost so much value, it is almost criminal. We are talking about SUVs that stickered for $45,000 to $65,000 when they were new, and today you can pick them up for $4,000 to $10,000. That is 80 to 90% gone. Evaporated. And here is the part that makes no sense. These are not junk. These are not project cars. These are SUVs with drivetrains that will run 300,000 miles and not even flinch. Every mechanic knows about them. Most of us are quietly buying them for our families while the general public chases overpriced RAV4s and CRVs, thinking that is the only path to reliability. I have been working on cars for over 2 decades. I have seen what breaks, what lasts, and what sends people home with a $6,000 repair bill on a Tuesday afternoon. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that the 10 SUVs on this list are some of the most mechanically durable vehicles ever built. The market just forgot about them. Today I am counting them down, and number 1 at the end is the one I have been recommending to friends and family for years. The one that is so good at its price point, it genuinely makes me angry that more people do not know about it. Let's get into it. Number 10, Cadillac Escalade, 3rd generation from 2007 to 2014. When this thing was new, fully loaded Escalades were pushing $70,000 to $75,000. Today you can find clean examples with under 130,000 miles for $10,000 to $15,000. That is roughly 80 to 85% depreciation. Now, before you say Cadillac and reliable do not belong in the same sentence, hear me out. The 3rd generation Escalade is not really a Cadillac under the skin. It is a Chevrolet Tahoe wearing a tuxedo. The engine is GM's 6.2-liter Vortec V8, the L92, and later the L94. This is a pushrod, naturally aspirated V8 with no turbos, no supercharger, and no complicated variable valve timing to fail. GM has been building variations of this small block architecture for decades. It is one of the most proven powertrains in automotive history. The 6-speed automatic behind it, the 6L80, is a heavy-duty unit that GM also used in their trucks and commercial vehicles. With regular fluid changes, this transmission will outlast the body of the truck. Here is why it is cheap. It says Cadillac on the badge. People assume luxury means expensive repairs. And sure, some of the electronic bells and whistles, like the magnetic ride control shocks, can cost $400 to $500 each to replace. But the bones of this thing, the engine, the transmission, the frame, those are truck parts. Cheap, available, and proven to last. If you are shopping for one, check the magnetic ride control shocks first. If the ride feels bouncy or you see fluid leaking from the shocks, budget $1,200 to $1,600 for all 4. It is the most common issue on these. Everything else is standard GM truck maintenance. We are talking oil changes, brake pads, and maybe a water pump around 150,000 miles. Number 9, GMC Yukon, 3rd generation, from 2007 to 2014. This is basically the Escalade's twin brother without the luxury tax. Same GM T900 platform, same body-on-frame construction, but equipped with the 5.3-liter Vortec Vive 8 in most trims. The 5.3 Vortec is one of the most bulletproof engines General Motors has ever produced. There are taxi fleets, police vehicles, and work trucks running these engines past 350,000 miles on nothing but oil changes and a fuel pump. When these were new, a loaded Yukon Denali stickered around $55,000 to $60,000. Today, a 2010 to 2012 Yukon with the 5.3 and 100,000 miles is going for $9,000 to $14,000, depending on trim and condition. A base SLE or SLT will be even cheaper. That is a full-size, 3-row, V8-powered SUV with legitimate towing capability for the price of a 10-year-old Civic. The 5.3 does have one known quirk. General Motors used a technology called active fuel management, called AFM, which shuts down 4 cylinders to save fuel. Over time, the AFM lifters can fail, which leads to a ticking noise and eventually misfires. The fix is about $2,500 if it happens. My advice is to check the oil for metal shavings on any high-mileage example and listen for a tick at idle. If the engine is quiet and the oil is clean, you are probably golden. An AFM delete kit runs about $800 installed and eliminates the problem permanently. Beyond that, these things are parts bin specials in the best possible way. Everything is shared with the Silverado and Tahoe, so parts are dirt cheap, and every shop in America knows how to work on them. A full brake job runs about $350. A water pump is $400. You are not paying luxury prices for luxury, adjacent space, and capability. Number 8. Infiniti QX56, first generation, from 2004 to 2010. This is where the depreciation gets genuinely absurd. The QX56 had an original MSRP of $52,000 to $58,000 depending on the year and options. You can now find first-generation examples with 120,000 miles for $5,000 to $9,000. That is close to 90% depreciation on a full-size luxury SUV with a leather interior, a V8, and genuine body-on-frame construction. Under the hood is Nissan's 5.6-liter VK56DE V8, producing 315 to 320 horsepower. This is a naturally aspirated, double overhead cam, aluminum block V8 with a timing chain, not a belt. The VK56DE is the same engine that powered the Nissan Titan and the Nissan Armada, and it earned a reputation for being seriously durable when maintained. Fleet Titan owners have reported well over 200,000 miles with no major engine work. The first-generation QX56 is essentially a Nissan Armada that went to finishing school, same platform, same drivetrain, but with Infiniti leather, wood trim, and extra noise insulation. You are getting a luxury experience that was comparable to a Lexus LX when new for the price of a used Corolla today. What to watch for? The exhaust manifolds on the VK56DE are known to crack over time. It is not catastrophic, but you will hear a ticking sound on cold starts. The repair runs about $600 to $900 depending on the shop. Also check the radiator and transmission cooler lines. On some early models, the factory plastic fittings can become brittle and leak. A full cooling system inspection is worth $100. Beyond those two items, this is a straightforward, naturally aspirated V8 SUV. No turbos, no hybrid complexity. Just a big engine, a traditional automatic, and a frame that was built to last. Number 7. Honda Pilot, second generation, 2009 to 2015. 2 years ago, a customer came in with a 2011 Pilot EXL. She bought used for $8,500 with 132,000 miles on it. She was nervous, thought she had bought someone else's problem. I did a full inspection, and found absolutely nothing wrong with it. Brakes had life left. Transmission fluid was clean. Engine was dry as a bone. No leaks anywhere. I told her to drive it and come back in 10,000 miles. She did. Still nothing. Nothing. The second-generation Pilot uses Honda SJ35, a 3.5-liter V6. If you know anything about Honda engines, you know the J series is basically Honda S version of a cockroach. It does not die. This is the same engine family that powered the Odyssey, the Ridgeline, the Accord 5.6, and the Acura TL and MDX. Honda refined this engine over 15 years, and it became one of the most reliable six-cylinder engines in the industry. It is naturally aspirated. It uses a timing belt that should be changed every 105,000 miles at roughly $700 to $900, including the water pump, and it is paired with a 5-speed automatic that Honda significantly improved over the earlier Generation S problematic transmission. The second-generation Pilot came with that 5-speed automatic, which fixed nearly all the issues the first generation was known for. With proper fluid changes every 30,000 to 40,000 miles, these transmissions routinely last well beyond 200,000 miles. When this SUV was new, a loaded touring model stickered around $42,000 to $44,000. Today, a 2012 Pilot EXL with all-wheel drive and 90,000 miles goes for $8,000 to $12,000. That is a 3-row Honda-engineered family hauler for less than some people spend on a vacation. The only reason these are cheap is because they are not flashy. They look like an appliance. But appliances that work for 300,000 miles are exactly what smart buyers should be looking for. Number 6, the Toyota Highlander, second generation, 2008 to 2013. I have talked about the Highlander before, and I will keep talking about it because the market still has not caught on. The second generation Highlander uses the 3.5-liter 2 GRFE V6 engine. This is the same engine family that went into the Lexus RX 350, the Lexus ES 350, the Camry 5.6, and the Avalon. It is one of the most proven V6 engines Toyota has ever produced. Chain-driven, naturally aspirated, with no direct injection on these early models, and they routinely hit 300,000 miles with standard maintenance. When new, a 2010 Highlander Limited Fee 6 stickered around $38,000 to $42,000. Today, that same vehicle with 110,000 miles sells for $8,000 to $12,000. That is roughly 75 to 80% depreciation for a Toyota with a V6 that is essentially the same mechanically as a Lexus. The 5-speed automatic in the 2008 to 2010 models is simple and reliable. The 2011 to 2013 models got a 6-speed that is equally solid. Either one, with regular fluid changes, will go the distance. I have personally serviced 4 of these past 250,000 miles, and the most expensive repair across all of them was a power steering rack at $900. Who should buy this? Anyone who wants the Lexus RX experience without the Lexus price. Seriously, drive a second-generation Highlander Limited back-to-back with a same-year RX 350. The ride quality and quietness are shockingly similar. The Highlander just has more space and a third row, and it costs $5,000 to $8,000 less on the used market. The depreciation on these is a gift to used buyers. Number 5, Acura MDX, second generation, from 2007 to 2013. Honda's luxury division made one of the best 3-row SUVs of the late 2000s, and nobody cares anymore. That is fantastic news for you. The second generation MDX originally stickered between $43,000 and $52,000, depending on trim and options. Today, a 2010 MDX with the technology package and 100,000 miles goes for $7,000 to $11,000. We are looking at 80% plus depreciation on a vehicle powered by Honda's legendary J37A1 3.7-liter V6. The J37 makes 300 horsepower and is mated to a 5-speed automatic with Acura's super handling all-wheel drive. The SHAWD system actively distributes torque to individual rear wheels for better cornering grip. It is genuinely impressive technology that still holds up today. And the J-Series engine underneath it all is the same family that has proven itself across millions of Hondas and Acuras worldwide. Maintenance costs are remarkably low for a luxury SUV. RepairPal rates the MDX highly for reliability, and the annual maintenance average sits well below the luxury SUV segment. Timing belt replacement at 105,000 miles runs $800 to $1,000, including the water pump, and that is honestly the biggest scheduled expense you will face. Everything else is oil, brakes, and tires. The reason these are cheap is pure brand perception. Acura sits in an awkward spot in the market. It is not quite prestigious enough to command Lexus or BMW resale values, but it is built with Honda engineering that is objectively more reliable than both. For the used buyer, that positioning is a goldmine. Number 4, the Nissan Armada, first generation, 2004 to 2015. It carries the same VK56DE 5.6-liter V8 as the Infiniti QX56, but without the luxury markup even when new. The first-generation Armada stickered around $38,000 to $48,000, depending on trim. Today, a 2012 Armada Platinum with 100,000 miles goes for $7,000 to $11,000. A base SV or SL will be even cheaper, and that makes the Armada a real bargain. This is a true body-on-frame, full-size SUV that can tow over 9,000 pounds, seat 8 people, and keep running for decades. Nissan kept the first-generation Armada in production for an incredible 11-year run with minimal changes, and that is a good thing. It means the platform was refined, parts are plentiful, and every common issue has been documented and solved 1,000 times over. Bulletproof engineering in practical terms. The Armada is the thinking person's alternative to the Tahoe. It is slightly less common, which keeps used prices even lower, but the engineering is every bit as durable. When maintained with regular oil changes and transmission fluid services, these drivetrains will run well beyond 250,000 miles. The same body-on-frame platform underpins the Nissan Patrol internationally, which is used as a military and fleet vehicle across the Middle East and Africa. That should tell you everything about how tough this platform is. One tip: if you are looking at a first-generation Armada, check the rear axle seal. Some early models developed a slow leak around 120,000 miles. The seal itself is a $25 part, and the labor is about $200. It is one of those things that looks alarming, a puddle of gear oil under the rear end, but is actually a cheap and simple fix. Number 3, Chevrolet Tahoe, third generation, 2007 to 2014. If the Yukon at number 9 is the quiet professional, the Tahoe is the workhorse. Same GMT 900 platform, the same 5.3-liter Vortec V8, the same legendary durability, but with even more availability on the used market. There are tens of thousands of these on lots and listings right now. A 2012 Tahoe LT with four-wheel drive stickered around $48,000 to $52,000 new. Today, the same truck with 110,000 miles goes for $10,000 to $15,000. The LS and base LT trims are even cheaper. I have seen clean 2009 Tahoes with 130,000 miles listed for $8,000. That is a full-size V8 three-row, four-wheel drive SUV for the price of a mediocre mountain bike. I already mentioned the active fuel management lifter concern on the Yukon, and the same applies here. But I want to add something positive. The 5.3-liter Vortec in these trucks is one of the easiest V8 engines to work on in existence. It is a pushrod design, so there are no overhead cams, no variable valve timing on the cams, and the engine bay has actual room to access components. Any independent shop can service this engine with their eyes closed. The 4L60E and later the 6L80 transmissions in these trucks are equally well known. The 4-speed in earlier models is virtually indestructible, and the 6-speed that came in 2009 and later is strong, smooth, and well proven. A transmission fluid change every 50,000 miles is all the insurance you need. Police departments and government agencies bought these Tahoes by the thousands. You know why? Because they need vehicles that start every single day, take abuse, and keep going. The Tahoe passed that test with flying colors. And now those same vehicles are filtering into the used market at prices that make absolutely no sense for what you are getting. Number 2, Lexus GX 470, 2003 to 2009. This is the one that true car enthusiasts whisper about. The GX 470 is a Lexus-badged Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. It shares the same platform and drivetrain, which means you are getting genuine Toyota off-road engineering wrapped in a luxury leather interior with Lexus build quality. The engine is Toyota's 4.7-liter 2 UZF-EV8, the same iron block and aluminum head power plant found in the Land Cruiser 100 series and the first-generation Sequoia. This engine is not just reliable, it is the stuff of legend. The 2 UZF-E has been used in Toyota trucks and SUVs worldwide since 1998. And it has an almost mythical reputation for longevity. We are talking an engine that was designed to run in extreme conditions across deserts, mountains, and jungle terrain for hundreds of thousands of miles. When new, the GX 470 stickered around $48,000 to $52,000. Today you can find examples from 2005 to 2007 with 140,000 to 160,000 miles for $10,000 to $15,000. The depreciation looks steep on paper, but here is the thing. 140,000 miles on a 2 UZF-E is barely middle-aged. These engines commonly reach 400,000 miles with nothing more than oil changes and timing belt services. Speaking of which, the timing belt is the one big-ticket maintenance item. It should be changed every 90,000 miles, and the job including the water pump runs $900 to $1,200. It is not cheap, but it is also not something you do often. And if the previous owner already did it, you are essentially looking at an SUV that needs nothing but oil and brake pads for the next 90,000 miles. The full-time four-wheel drive system with a locking center differential is one of the most capable off-road setups ever put in a luxury SUV. And the rear air suspension, while something to inspect on high-mileage examples, is easily converted to traditional coil springs for about $300 to $500 if you do not want to deal with it. If I had to pick one SUV on this list to drive across a continent with zero notice and zero preparation, it would be this one. The GX 470 is overbuilt in every way that matters and underpriced in a way that will not last forever. Enthusiasts are already starting to notice, and prices on clean examples are creeping up. Buy one now while you still can. Number 1. Toyota Sequoia, first generation, from 2001 to 2007. This is the SUV I tell everyone about. The one people push back on at first because it is old, it is big, and it drinks gas like it is training for a competition. And then they drive one, and then they buy one, and then they text me 6 months later saying, "Why did nobody tell me about this sooner?" I get that message constantly. The first-generation Sequoia was built on the first-generation Tundra platform and powered by the same 4.7-liter 2 UZF EV8 I mentioned in the Lexus GX 470. Same engine, same legendary reliability. The 2UZ is an iron block, timing belt-driven V8 that Toyota overbuilt from the factory. It was designed with extra material in the block, conservative power output, and wide engineering margins. Toyota intentionally left performance on the table to maximize longevity, and it shows. This engine has gone 300,000, 400,000, and in some documented cases over 500,000 miles. When the first-generation Sequoia was new, it stickered around $35,000 to $45,000, depending on the trim. A 2001 SR5 started at roughly $34,000. Today, clean examples from 2003 to 2006 with 150,000 to 180,000 miles are selling for $5,000 to $8,000. That is 85 to 90% depreciation on an SUV with a drivetrain that might literally outlive you. Lower mileage, collector-quality examples are climbing toward $15,000, but the sweet spot for a daily driver is still firmly in single-digit thousands. The 5-speed automatic paired with the 2UZ in these is a Toyota A750F, and it is equally robust. Fluid changes every 60,000 miles will keep this transmission shifting smoothly for the life of the vehicle. I am not being hyperbolic. I have seen original transmissions on these past 300,000 miles. Here is my inspection checklist if you are shopping for one. First, check the frame for rust. Toyota had a well-documented frame corrosion issue on trucks from this era, particularly in Salt Belt states. They even offered a frame replacement program for the Tacoma and Tundra. If you are in the South or Southwest, this is usually a non-issue. If you are in the Northeast, get under it with a flashlight and a screwdriver. Any frame that is flaking or has holes, walk away. A solid frame on a first-generation Sequoia is the foundation for another 200,000 miles. Second, check the timing belt service history. If it has not been done and the truck is over 90,000 miles, negotiate $1,000 off the price and get it done immediately. With the water pump, idler pulleys, and the belt itself, you are looking at $900 to $1,200 at a good independent shop. This is the single most important maintenance item on the 2UZFE. Miss it and you risk catastrophic engine damage. Do it on time and the engine will run practically forever. Third, check the lower ball joints. This is a known wear item on first-generation Sequoias. They can develop play around 130,000 to 160,000 miles. The fix is about $400 to $600 for both sides. Not a deal breaker, but if you feel any looseness in the front end during your test drive, Use it as a negotiation tool. Fourth, test the air conditioning. The first-generation Sequoia has a dual-zone system with rear air, and the rear lines can develop leaks on high-mileage examples. An AC recharge and leak check costs about $150 at most shops. Here is who should buy this SUV. If you need a full-size, 3-row vehicle that seats 8 and can tow 6,500 pounds, this is one of the best values in the entire used car market. If you are keeping a vehicle long-term and want the lowest possible total cost of ownership relative to what you are getting, the first-generation Sequoia is almost unbeatable. If you want genuine Toyota truck reliability without paying Land Cruiser prices, this is the answer. The Land Cruiser 100 series uses the same engine and a similar platform, but costs 2 to 3 times as much on the used market because of the badge and the cult following. Who should skip it? If you care about fuel economy, this thing gets 14 to 16 miles per gallon on a good day. If you need something compact for city driving, this is nearly 204 inches long. And if the idea of driving a 20-year-old vehicle makes you uncomfortable, I understand. But I would rather drive a 20-year-old Toyota with a 2UZFE than a 5-year-old anything with a turbocharged 4-cylinder and a CVT. That is not nostalgia. That is math. Here is my final take. Every SUV on this list lost the vast majority of its original value. The market looked at their age, their mileage, and their brand perception and decided they were not worth much. The market is wrong. These 10 SUVs have drivetrains that were over-engineered from the factory, simple maintenance requirements, and proven track records stretching across hundreds of thousands of miles. They include the Cadillac Escalade and the Chevrolet Yukon with their Vortec V8 engines, the Infiniti QX56 and the Nissan Armada with their VK56 V8 engines, the Acura MDX and the Honda Pilot with their legendary J-Series Vi6 engines, the Toyota Highlander with the same engine as a Lexus RX, the Lexus GX 470 with Land Cruiser DNA, and the first-generation Toyota Sequoia, which might be the single best value in the entire used SUV market right now. You now know 10 SUVs that you can buy for under $15,000 that will run circles around vehicles costing twice as much. The next time a salesperson tries to push you toward a shiny 3-year-old lease return with a turbo engine and 47 electronic modules waiting to fail, you will know better. If this kind of straight talk is saving you money, hit that subscribe button. I have more videos coming on the cars dealerships push versus the ones that actually make financial sense, like if it helped. Drive safe, take care of your car, and it will take care of you. I'll see you in the next one.